What's up guys? I'm very excited that I can finally share with you my latest project.
The NOVRITSCH SSX-303 is finally here, and all that I can really say is, I've been looking forward to this. Now before we get into it, I just want to make it clear that this is not a sponsored video. I am not being paid to do this review, and I certainly did not receive this weapon for free. And I have no relationship at all with NOVRITSCH, unless you guys want one. That being said, I put in the pre-order for this last year. I paid it all with my own money, so what you'll be getting in this video is going to be all my own opinion. I also expect that it might be a little bit of a longer video than usual, so if you're coming here just to see something specific about the weapon, I'll go ahead and put some timestamps on the left side of the screen, and that way if there's something specific that you're looking for, you can just go ahead and skip over to it. For the rest of you, we're going to go ahead and get started with the unboxing. So, it's a very clean package, looks good, it's very slick. Here's the front side of it, but we're not really here for the packaging, are we? We're here for what's inside. So I'll go ahead and open this for you guys here. So inside we've got our manual. Go ahead and put that over there. And we've got some foam covering the rifle to keep it protected. I'm going to go ahead and get this out onto a tray. Nice. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and throw some attachments onto this thing, and I'm going to go outside and play with it, and then I will report back on what I think about the weapon. So, first thing we're going to put on will be the NOVRITSCH modular suppressor. Alright, and there we go. Now we have our suppressor attached. Next thing that I'm going to go ahead and throw on will be a scope. I've just got this rifle scope that I think I took off of a Gammo pellet rifle, so go ahead and get it mounted. There it is with the scope attached. Here it is from the other side. So next thing to do is we're going to go ahead, take this outside, and play with it.
We are at 60 yards exactly. So we're going to go ahead and take some shots at that and see if we can hit it. I haven't adjusted the hop up yet, so I imagine the first few shots probably aren't going to hit. I don't think we're even shooting. My problem? What happened? Huh. We're just gonna move on and continue shooting without the suppressor on it. Still haven't got the hop up adjusted, by the way. They keep dropping like probably 20 feet in front of me. Okay, I can see they're like dropping right there. That's not even 5 feet in front of me. I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing inside and see if I can figure something out. I'll be back.
So I decided to take the suppressor apart to figure out where the BB impacted with the foam discs. There were multiple hits in the middle and ending sections of the suppressor. I'm not sure how this happened. I followed the instructions exactly as given on the NOVRITSCH website, and this just has never been an issue during the entire time that I used it on my SSX-303. So I'm not exactly sure how this one happened, but I decided to put it back together in a shorter configuration in order to be able to use it. I wasn't able to put it back to its full length because some of those foam discs were damaged and Now they obstruct the barrel. So while troubleshooting the issue of my diminished range, I decided that it might actually be a problem with the ambient temperature. You see, it might be too cold for these gas magazines to function properly. So, to address this, I'm going to heat these magazines up next to a fire until they are warm, and then I'm going to take them and shoot them from out a window in the house, which is kept at 70 degrees, as opposed to outside, which is pretty cold.
Okay, so I've set up a box in my backyard, and I've measured the distance already with the rangefinder. It is exactly 30 yards from where I'm standing here in the basement. So we're going to go ahead and take a couple shots at it and see what happens. There we go, that's a hit. Okay, well now I've run into a new issue, and that's the trigger's stuck on the back position. So I have to physically push it forward to get it to cycle another round. And now it's just not even shooting. But at least we're hitting. Sorry about my dog. She's got a little separation anxiety going on right now. Alright, well I've got to say I'm happy with that. At least we're yeah, we're getting some shots out there. Okay. I'll take it. So it definitely was the gas. It's just way too cold outside. Let's go ahead and throw in another mag. See what we can do here. Okay. Once again, I apologize about my dog. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. At least we have it shooting. I'm going to go ahead and set up a pumpkin downrange, and we'll see if we can hit that. Go ahead and measure the distance to those pumpkins. They are at a distance of 24 yards. Let's see if we can hit those pumpkins. Hi, what's your problem? I apologize for that. My dog's a bit of a nut, so I've went ahead and locked her in the garage, and now we can shoot at these pumpkins in peace. Yeah, those are hits. Alright, all out of ammo. Let's go ahead and go downrange. That's super precise. We're getting hits at about 24 yards, so on a target this small, that's smaller than a head. That's incredible. So I've got to say I'm happy with that. Okay, now while these magazines are still warm, I'm gonna quickly take it outside and go mag dump into those pumpkins for fun. I think that's it. For those asking, yes, I am indeed wearing iPro. There were quite a few of those BBs bouncing around, so don't be dumb with your airsoft guns. Yeah, Does a good bit of damage. I would not want to be hit with this thing at a close range. Definitely don't shoot somebody that close with this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and redo the range test. We're going to be shooting at that tree directly ahead of me. It is currently out at a distance of 78 yards.
Calm down. Go away.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the pros and cons of this weapon. We're going to start off with the cons, just because I prefer to leave off on a lighter note. So my first issue with this weapon is going to be using the safety. So because they built it around this SSX-303, the safety is operated in the same way. In order to put this thing on safe, you have to pull the hammer back. Without the hammer back, I can push all I want on the safety, but it's not going to budge. You have to pull it back, and now we can make it safe. On the SSX-303, however, there's no way to reach that hammer. So in order to be able to pull the hammer back to put on the safety, we have to pull the trigger. I think that some of you can see why this might be an issue. So my way of going about putting this thing on safety, just take the magazine out, and now you don't have to worry about shooting anything. There's never one in the chamber, so you don't have to worry about shooting around still. Now you just slowly pull the trigger. You'll hear that first click. Now it's on half cock like the pistol, and you can go ahead and push that safety up and then put your magazine back in, and now you have it on safe. I don't know, for me, it's not my favorite feature. I don't really like how it works, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's just an airsoft gun, so it's not like we're dealing with a larger caliber round flying out of this barrel if we mess up. Next complaint that I had is going to be with the reliability of the weapon. So I've noticed that when I was shooting it in my test runs, that sometimes it would stop shooting, but yet I still had half a magazine of BBs left. So I don't know what's going on. It's just failing to feed the BBs into the gun. So the fix that I've found for it so far is if it's not shooting and you've noticed that you have ammo in it, all that I do is just eject the magazine and push it back in. So just something like this. And that's usually enough to get it to catch that BB, and then it starts shooting again. I'm hoping that later down the road, as this thing breaks in, that won't be an issue anymore, but we'll see. My other complaint is going to be with the suppressor. It's just a very minor one. And my complaint is just that they didn't keep the same threading as they have on the SSX-303. It was just kind of one of those selling points that they had, that it uses the same magazines, it uses the same holster, and I just assumed it would use the same suppressor, but they're different threads, so it's really not that huge of an issue, because I'm sure most people are going to have two suppressors for each of these anyway, so I guess in other words, I just need to get another suppressor for airsoft. Now, my last complaint about this thing is going to be with the M-LOK. So, me personally, I'm not a huge fan of M-LOK. I just don't have any attachments for it. All of the attachments that I own, all of my flashlights, optics, and sling points, are all meant to go on weapons like this one that use these quad rails all the way around. So, now I've got to go ahead and get that one figured out. But that one's really more of a personal issue. I'm sure that there are people out here that are actually quite happy that they chose to go with the M-Lock, so I'm not one of those people. So now we're going to move on to some of the pros of this weapon. So the thing that I like the most about this gun is just how accurate it is. So you could see from the earlier footage where I was testing it out, it had no problem hitting those little miniature pumpkins out at 24 yards, just shot after shot, was nailing them. And that tree that we were shooting at out at 78 yards, it didn't seem to struggle getting out there. It had no problem hitting it. It was a little bit inaccurate, but I'm going to attribute that probably to the wind and the fact that I was taking standing shots rather than in a rested position. On top of that, I think it's just going to get more accurate with time, but I guess I'll figure that out the longer I own it. So far, I haven't put that many BBs through it. I've been using these NOVRITSCH 0.46 gram BBs, and the bottle's about half empty, which means I've used roughly 250 rounds, all of which were put through this. So I guess we'll find out. We'll see if it breaks in more. We'll see if it gets more accurate in the future. On top of that, I'm sure that once we're in better conditions in my state, when it's a little warmer, we won't have to worry about the cold, and I think it'll shoot out a lot farther as well. So another thing that I really enjoy about this weapon is just the fact that it's semi-automatic. So when I was deciding on what I wanted to get for an upgrade for my AEG, I was trying to decide between this thing or a bolt action, and when I was thinking about it, I just prefer to have the semi-automatic platform. With a bolt action, if you want to get follow-up shots, you're going to have to pull your bolt back and forth, and it's just not going to be as fast as a semi-auto. On top of that, pulling a bolt back and forth, it makes a little bit of noise and it makes a little bit of movement, which can be used to detect you. Whereas this thing, it's super quiet. You just have the sound of you pulling the trigger and a little bit of the internals. And just on top of that, it can sometimes be fun to lay down a little love with a semi-automatic mag dump. Other pro that I thought of was that it looks pretty cool. It's very sturdy. This aluminum construction is really nice, so I don't think it's going to break if I were to drop it. I'll try my best not to, though. It's very lightweight as well. I'll actually go ahead and put in a clip here of me doing a little bit of obstacles with it.
I like how light this gun is. I was able to climb out of that window no problem holding this thing. You know what? Let's try a couple other things. Let's go jump this fence with it. Oh yeah, that is super nice. Like, it's not even a challenge. Let's see about climbing. Yup, not a concern. Yeah, I like that. So it's a very light, very maneuverable gun. Nice.
So another thing that I really enjoy about this rifle is going to be how quiet it is. So with the suppressor, it can be really hard to hear, and I think probably at a distance of 30 to 40 feet, you're probably not really going to notice it. And even without the suppressor on, it's still really quiet. So I honestly think that this weapon is going to be one of the most silent guns out on the airsoft field. Really, the only creature that was bothered by the noise of this weapon is going to be our family dog, but she's an absolute nutcase, so she doesn't really count. Funny enough, when I was playing with this thing out in the field without the suppressor, I was watching the neighbors' horses, and they had no clue I was there, even though I was shooting at that box for quite some time. It took them a long time to notice that I was there, and I think it was just because I started moving. So take that for what it's worth.
You're all right, boy.
The final thing that I really enjoy about this rifle is going to be the fact that it uses the same magazines as the pistol, the SSX-303. The reason I like that so much is just because it really simplifies everything that I have to carry. I only need to carry one kind of magazine pouch. I don't have to carry multiple types of pouches for like rifle magazines and pistol magazines. And it really simplifies the whole process for me, which I like because I prefer not to carry a lot of things with me out during games. So with that being said, we're going to cover next how I actually carry all of these things out on the field, and then after that we will wrap up this review. Okay, so now I'm going to quickly share with you guys just how I carry all of this gear. So for the actual weapon itself, I think I'm just going to continue carrying it just in my hands like I do with my AEG. Maybe sometime in the future I'll throw a sling on it if I feel like it, but I don't know. It's really light. I just don't really see a need for it. So that's how I'm going to carry that for now. As for how I carry my spare magazines, I actually carry them in a Velcro pouch. And here, maybe I'll adjust the angle here for you. So I've got these Velcro pouches off of Amazon. They're about 10 to 15 bucks. They're just like a universal magazine carrier, and they're held in with a Velcro, and you get your magazines right in there, and they fit perfectly, so it's nice. I used to use these NOVRITSCH magazine carriers, but I'm not a huge fan of them. I carried with them for a little while, and I just kept on losing my magazines. The retention isn't, well, now I can't get it to shake out, but normally it's not super good. It didn't hold up to any running or jumping that I did, and I would constantly lose magazines. So the Velcro, it might not be as stealthy with that sound, but for me it's worth it, not having to worry about dropping magazines in the tall grass on our field and spending half an hour trying to find them. For the pistol, I just carry it on my right hip. It's in this Double Tap Designs holster, and it's a very good holster design. It's got a trigger guard built into it, so you don't have to worry about setting it off, even if it's not on safety. To get it off, you just have that button that you press with your thumb, and then it just comes right off. So it's super quick, it's super handy, I like it. I decided to opt for the paddle mount on the system because I carry it just on a normal gun belt. It's nothing super special. Here it is. It is a, I believe it's by Hank's Belts. It's very sturdy, made out of leather, and it holds up all this weight just fine. So the last thing that I carry on me is going to be this speed loader. I normally carry it in a pocket just underneath my magazines. I'm not very worried about losing it because it's underneath this elastic ghillie pant, and even if I do manage to somehow lose it, I've now wrapped it in the orange tape that came with the SSX-303, so now it should be easy to find. If not, then it's like a $2 speed loader, so I don't really care. But that's how I carry all of this gear on me, so maybe I've given you a couple ideas, and if you guys have any ideas, do let me know. And one last thing before we leave. If you guys found some value in this video, please do hit the like button. And if you want to see some gameplay with the SSX-303, do be sure to subscribe, because next weekend, my local field will be hosting a game, and I'll make sure to go out there and get you guys some footage. Otherwise, I've got nothing else to share with you today. So, I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.